Welcome to the John and Heidi Show podcast, brought to you by DirecTV, 1-800-259-7646. Also brought to you by RVRealtor.com. If you're buying an RV or selling an RV, check out RVRealtor.com and the Dollar Shave Club. Here's John and Heidi.
Thank you so much for listening to the John and Heidi Show on a Wednesday. Hey, baby, how you doing?
I'm all right. How are you?
I'm better than all right. I'm awesome. Doing great. Doing fabulous.
That's
okay,
good.
I'm doing all right. Coming up here in just a little bit, we've got a whole lot of fun stuff to chat about. We've got a guest on the program today, and our guest today has a really cool diet. It's Dr. Torres, and he's got these 12 steps to a healthier, better, much more fit you. What happened over there? What did you drop?
I just made a mess.
I just heard a pile of papers hit the floor. Everything okay?
Yeah, I'm good.
All right.
I'm good.
Hey, wireless carrier T-Mobile says they're going to let their customers watch more online videos from Netflix, HBO, and others without paying for it. As a new addition to their monthly wireless plan, watching video on certain apps will not count towards data coverage.
Ha!
So this is one step in, a lot of people think this is a step in the right direction to, allow people more access for less money. So that's kind of cool. So they're going to have video from Netflix and HBO and others, and they say it's all free from T-Mobile. So if you've got that, I guess good for you. If you don't, well, not so good for you. Coming up, we got some special things going on today. We'll tell you what in a bit.
This portion of the program is brought to you by Dollar Shave Club. Get razors for $1 a month plus a few bucks shipping, so you can enjoy fresh razors every month for as little as $3. Learn more at dollarshaveclub.com/radio.
Today is a special day, Heidi. Do you know what today is?
What is today, John?
I thought you'd never ask. It's Wednesday, the 3rd day of February. Today is Four Chaplains Memorial Day. It's also
what is that?
It's the day to remember the four chaplains. It's also the day the music died.
Who are the four chaplains?
Hey, can we just skim past the
anything
things
like
I don't
the
know?
Three tenors?
No, I don't know. Can't you tell when I don't know what I'm talking about? I want to just keep moving. Now that we've drawn attention to the fact that I'm an idiot and so are you. It's the day the music died. You know what that means?
Yes, I do, actually. I
the
know
airplane.
what that means.
Yeah. You know why they called that song American Pie?
Yes, I do. It's the name of the airplane.
Name of the airplane, yeah. And you have a relative that was flying the airplane.
Yes.
So you're related to that
Yes,
person.
I do.
Also, National Girls and Women's in Sports Day today, and National Signing Day.
Did you just say
today.
girls and women's?
I think I did. Can you just move on when I mess up, too? The moral of the story, folks, when I make a mistake, I don't want to dwell on it. But Heidi does. Anyway, National Signing Day today for sign language. So get out there and celebrate. Whichever way you celebrate, have some fun doing it. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show.
This portion of the program is brought to you by RVRealtor.com. If you want to buy or sell an RV, go to RVRealtor.com. List your RV for free. Learn more at RVRealtor.com.
You know it's true because you heard it on the radio. This is a really interesting story, and I think this is a really cool story. A New Zealand couple became Christians, so they dedicated their life to Christ. When they did that, they decided that they needed to confess to some fraud that would have never been uncovered.
Oh.
Laurel Teriyaki and her husband, Gene Douglas, recently became born-again Christians, and they wanted to make it right. They said, you know what? There's a $22,000 Social Security fraud that the government officials said they would have never known anything about. But they came forward. They told them the couple will be forced to perform 200 hours of community service, but they said they feel really good, like a load has been lifted from them. Because they had this little burden where they're like, oh, man, what if we get caught? We're going to go to prison. We're going to, because there was some sort of fraud that they had committed, $22,000 Social Security fraud. And I don't know what they did exactly. It doesn't say in here. But when they became Christians, they said, you know what, we need to fix this in our life, and we're gonna tell the truth, and whatever happens, happens. And the good news is they're not going to prison. Instead, they do get to perform 200 hours of community service.
Which isn't bad.
No, not at all.
And honestly, as Christians, they probably would be doing more of that anyway. So
I don't mind doing community service. I've never been ordered to do it. I've never ever had to go and do any kind of community service, but I like to give back to the community. I think that's good. Coming up here in a bit, we're going to talk about a man that was arrested at his own wedding. Also, later in the program, we've got a young lady that commits her moment of duh, and there's a couple of fun stories for our scoop of the day. That's all on the way. And again, this Christian couple, they turned themselves in for Social Security fraud, and all because they had become Christians. I think that's really cool. And you know it's true. That happened in New Zealand. You know it's true because you heard it on the radio.
The John and Heidi Show is brought to you in part by the Keystone Treatment Center.
This is your brain, and this is your brain on drugs. We share silly stories here on the program, but addiction is no joke. If you or someone you know suffers with an addiction to drugs or alcohol, make today the day you seek help.
Call toll-free 844-204-1055.
That's a toll-free number. Again?
844-204-1055.
And this is your brain on drugs. How would you like to get arrested at your own wedding?
Yikes.
Yeah, that wouldn't be fun. That happened, though. Swedish man convicted of a drug offense failed to return to prison after a weekend of home leave. What?
What?
They get home leave? He was caught by police at his own wedding. Police allowed the 24-year-old man to marry his bride, but then right after they whisked him back to prison, preventing the couple from spending their wedding night together. So, after all, he was supposed to be in prison.
Their prisons must be somewhat more lax than
So,
ours.
He's in prison for a drug offense, and he gets a weekend of home leave? I don't know how that works. I've never been in prison. So, Heidi, when you were in prison, I'm just kidding. She's never been in prison either. And if you've been in prison, nothing against you. I've got a lot of friends that have been in prison. I do. I've got several people. I've got some brothers. Well, they've never been in prison. They were in jail.
I was going to say, no,
I'm kind of digging a hole here, ain't I? Anyway, I don't know how that works. I didn't think when you were in prison that you got weekend leave, but I don't know. Maybe that's just me. This was in Sweden, after all, so who knows? Coming up, we got your moment of duh.
This portion of the program is brought to you by Keystone Treatment Center. Addiction is no laughing matter. Call Keystone Treatment Center toll-free at 1-844-204-1055.
Now your moment of duh. When Jacksonville, Florida's Marie Cooley noticed a help wanted ad in the newspaper for a job that looked like hers, she was certain that she was about to get fired. So she wasn't about to sit by timidly and get her pink slip. So she snuck into the office one night and accessed the company computer system with her own account and proceeded to delete 7 years and $2.5 million worth of architectural drawings. Turns out the want ad was not for her job. They had no intention of firing her, at least not before the little caper. The upside, Marie might not need a new job for 5 years because now she's got felony charges and she gets to go to prison. Yeah, good news is the computer experts were able to recover all of the deleted files. So her moment of duh got her in trouble, and the company, I'm sure it cost them a little something to get everything recovered, but at least it was all recovered. You know, you don't hear about that very often, but every once in a while you do hear about somebody who does that, goes in and maliciously destroys things in their company because they're upset. I'm telling you, folks, if you're ever mad at your employer, don't do that. I mean, it's going to be impossible for you to get a good position in the future if you do something like that because the word gets out. You can't do that. Just be a good person. That's all that matters. Coming up, we got your scoop of the day. It's on the way.
The Scoop of the Day is brought to you by Wells Blue Bunny. If you want delicious ice cream, be sure to look for the Blue Bunny. Sure to have your favorite flavors. Learn more at bluebunny.com.
Now your Scoop of the Day. Romance is in the air, Heidi.
Okay.
Got Valentine's Day coming up here.
Yeah, we do.
Consumers are expected to spend big on candy and jewelry and flowers. The average person celebrating the holiday on the 14th of February, they are expected to spend $142.31. It's about $8 more than last year. And that's about $140 more than I spent last year. Well, I think I spent the $231. Look, I got you a card and I slid a stick of gum in there. You can chew that later. No, I don't think. Well, I'm trying to think what I did get you last year.
I don't think we did anything last year.
I don't know. I think we might have both taken a year off. It's not. We're like, hey, I woke up in the morning and said, love you. And you said, love you too. Happy Valentine's Day. Okay, can you leave now? Sure. Hey, racial and ethnic minorities now make up more than half of the children being born in the United States, surpassing births of white children. So my question is, are they still minorities? Because they're the majority now. So how does that work?
Yeah,
I'm not sure. Anyway, there you go. That's interesting news. People are increasingly buying elaborate spyware equipment to spy on their lovers in an effort to find evidence of cheating. This, according to a private investigation company called Spouse Busters. I just wanted to say their name. Spouse Busters. That is a funny name. In Austin, Texas, Uber is offering new services. They're giving you the opportunity to get picked up in a horse and buggy.
Oh, that's cute.
So you can request an Uber ride in a horse and buggy. That's kind of cool.
I like that.
Speaking of those guys, Uber, I've never done the Uber thing. Never, ever. I don't really have any reason to not like it, but I just have no reason to say I want to do it. First time ever, you can hail an Uber from the Super Bowl. In the past, the app was always banned because of traffic concerns, but this year, Super Bowl 50 is going to take place at Levi's Stadium in Santa Clara, California, a short ride away from the headquarters of Uber. And it should be interesting to see how that goes. Did you know that too much sugar can make you stupid?
I did not.
Yeah, I'm in trouble. Suggestions follow tests in the laboratory comparing high fructose corn syrup, which is 6 times sweeter than cane sugar, and a common ingredient in processed foods, with omega-3 fatty acids known to aid memory and learning. In an experiment on rats, apparently stupid rats, one group had a sugary diet for 6 weeks, and the other was fed healthy. At the start of the study, published in the Journal of Psychology, and the University of California team showed that the rats were able to navigate a maze, placing landmarks to help them learn the way. 6 weeks later, same rats could not recall the route, or the route, depending on how you say that word. Study co-author Professor Fernando Gomez says the rats fed just a sugary diet were slower and their brains had declined. Eating the high fructose diet over the long term alters your brain's ability to learn and remember information. So they're saying sugar can make you stupid.
Don't you feel bad for rats?
I do. And I also feel bad.
Them do all this stuff.
Yeah, these poor rats are like, can you just give me the cheese? Come on. Hey, Sony recently announced they're going to stop producing Betamax tapes.
I didn't know they were still making them.
Yeah. They started in 1975, a full year before JVC unveiled their VHS tapes. They both allowed the same thing, recording TVs and movies. Many people considered Betamax a superior technology, but VHS, they became the choice because, why, Heidi?
Because that's the one that's caught on. I don't know why.
They caught on because they were cheaper, and their tapes were longer. So Betamax, they're finally throwing in the towel. They could have done that in 1981.
Wow, you got to give it to them. They
hung in there
really
a lot longer. Crayola has launched their own line of coloring books called Crayola Color Escapes, and it's in the premium coloring section for adults. So they got adult books from Crayola. They're coloring books for mom and dad. So that doesn't mean that they're naughty. That just means that they're really intricate, and they don't think kids would probably like them anyway. You ready for a strange law?
Sure.
In Atlanta, Georgia, it is illegal to tie a giraffe to a telephone pole or a street lamp. There you go.
Okay.
So if you have a giraffe, keep that in mind. Coming up, we got some fun stuff to talk about, and we've got a guest on the way on the John and Heidi Show.
This portion of the program is brought to you by RoughToughKennels.com. Dog kennels and accessories sent to your front door wherever you live. Your dog deserves it. Learn more at RoughToughKennels.com.
Thank you so much for listening to the John and Heidi Show on a Wednesday. We've got a special guest on the line right now. This is really kind of an interesting story. At the age of 48, a dangerously out-of-shape Florida medical doctor decided to get serious about his own lifelong weight problem. About 10 years later, looking like a gold medal gymnast, Dr. Francisco Torres is now sharing his secrets to weight loss success in his new book, Dr. T's Drop the Fat Diet, 12 Steps to a Leaner You Forever. We have Dr. T on the line right now. Hello, Dr. T. How are you doing today?
Doing very well. Thank you for having me.
Very good. Well, we're excited to have you on the I'm looking at the photo here on your website, and I can't believe that you were way out of shape at one point because you look pretty darn good now, don't you?
The funny part is that I tried to do before pictures, tried to do that transformation many years before that, and my kids were just tired of saying, okay, there we go with a before picture. When are we going to see the after picture? And it was not until I turned 48 that I was able to do that.
The program that you have and the book that you have, you kind of go through the steps and you kind of help people. This is something that a lot of people struggle with, myself being one of them. Now, you struggled with this. How were you able to ultimately win the battle against weight loss?
Well, that's a great question. I think that the first thing you have to have is a purpose and be committed, that you say, enough is enough, I need to change. Once you have that strong why, then you start looking for the resources. And then you become resourceful because you need to change. It's not like I want to try, I wish. You have to be very strong in your mind. For me, it was my heart event. When I had that I was scared. I thought I was going to have to be on medications and treatments and things like that. And after that, they told me that it was just I was completely deconditioned. That was my strong why. And I think I tell my clients and my people I see, once you have that, you will find the way to do it.
So now, how long did it take for you when you went through this process? I know you started about a decade ago, but how long did it take? Was this something that happened overnight, or did the transformation take a little while?
Well, it's very interesting. If I tell you, when I did my research to write my book, there are over 15,000 books on weight loss and diet and all. So we have the information. The information is out there. To lose the weight is not really that difficult. Once you start controlling your portions and making the right decision with the type of food you're eating, the main thing is to maintain it. But the problem is people reach their goal, say, okay, I lost 50 pounds, then a year later, they have gained the same amount or more. And it's because you don't continue to become, you have to change this into a lifestyle.
Yeah.
And in my beginning, I was addicted to the diet sodas all the time, thinking that I no harm, no calories, and that's one of the worst things that you can do in terms of your weight loss. So once I understood that was killing me, then I decided not to go, to go for the Diet Coke, the soda, and then I made a conscious decision. I can see them now. I don't care for them, but in the past, I was completely addicted to those things.
So now there's several of us that have tried diets, myself being one of them, and I've lost weight, and then I've gained it back, and then I've lost weight on a different diet, and I've gained it back. What are some things that we could do to make it so when we do lose the weight, we actually keep that weight off?
Well, again, it's just understanding when you lose the weight, there's several factors. You're controlling the portions. You're making better decisions on what you're eating. People were confused, even myself in the beginning, that we have to eliminate the fat. The fat is not the enemy. The sugar is the enemy. And then when I say sugar, people think, oh, but I don't eat any sweets. The problem is the sugar is hidden in all these processed foods, in the pasta, in the pizza, in the bread, and the rice. So all those things are contributing to your sugar to spike. And then what I said, once you control your weight, then you have to have a commitment to exercise. Because once you build muscle, then even when you're sleeping, your metabolism is taking care of your calories.
Now, you're not a fan of the treadmill. What kind of exercise do you think people should be doing?
Well, it's not that I like to run. I like the treadmill. I just not fan to be on a treadmill for 1 hour, 2 hours to lose the weight. What you want to do is go be more efficient. It's do the interval training. You increase your heart rate for a minute to maybe 80% of your maximum, and then you drop it for 1 minute or two, and you do that a couple of times within a 15-minute period. And then what I do is then from there, I start doing my weights. You do the strengthening, and people say, well, I don't want to lose to get into heavy weight, but you don't have to do. You can use your own body weight to train the muscles, and once you start building up muscle mass, you'll see how the fat starts to melt. That's basically what happens.
We talked a little bit about foods. What are some foods that we should quit eating, and what are some foods that we should start eating? As
a rule, anything that comes in a box, you need to think twice about having it. Because that means that it's processed and have a lot of additives, preservatives. So you want to be as natural as possible. You want to be sure that you have a ratio of 60% protein, 30% complex carbohydrate, and a good fats, 10%. So when we say protein, you want to have lean protein, the chicken breast, the white fish, and then the meat, you want to make decisions to be sure there's low fat, like a stuffed round, things like that. When you talk about the carbohydrates, you want to go for the ones that have the less impact on your sugar, and those are the ones we call complex. So we're having the green vegetable, the spinach, kale, broccoli, asparagus, and then when we go fruits, you want to do the low glycemic, which basically are the berries.
Again, visiting right now with Dr. Francisco Torres, and he is the author of a new book, and it's a good-looking book here that's got some great ideas in it, and the 12 steps for a healthy metabolism. It's called Dr. T's Drop the Fat Diet, 12 Steps to a Leaner You Forever. And in the book, what are the things that people are finding most surprising? What are you hearing from people that they are most surprised about?
Please, artificial sweeteners. They don't see anything wrong with that. They feel that it's 0 calories, and unfortunately, when you use any of those artificial sweeteners, it triggers your insulin response identical to pure sugar, and the consequence is that you start storing fat. So people are in shock and say, well, but everything is 0 calories, no sugar. And that's one thing. And number two is that, a lot of patients or clients, they like to drink coffee. and then they think that there's no damage there, but they add so much creamer into the coffee that it's another problem. And then the other thing that I see my page, well, I have a low-fat or no-fat milk, and that is loaded with sugar. So people don't realize that they're drinking calories by drinking the milk.
So if I would like to get a copy of the book, the Drop the Fat Diet, 12 Steps to a Leaner You Forever, where can I find a copy of that?
You can go. The easy way will be to go to my page. It's called dropthefat.diet, not .com. Dropthefat.diet, and that will connect you to Amazon, or you can go directly to Amazon.
Very nice. Dr. Torres, I know you got a lot of calls that you get to make today. Thank you so much for taking time to chat with us on this.
Thank you so much for the invitation.
And again, Dr. Francisco Torres, and the book is a cool book. If you get a chance, you can check that out. Like you said, it's available at Amazon, also right on his website. And the website that he has is dropthefat.diet. So instead of .com, it's .diet. Dropthefat.diet. And again, the book, if you're looking on Amazon for it, it's Dr. T's Drop the Fat Diet, 12 Steps to a Leaner You Forever. Thank you for listening to the John and Heidi Show on a Wednesday.
This portion of the program is brought to you by CarsForSale.com. If you're in the market to buy a car, truck, or van, find thousands of vehicles to choose from at CarsForSale.com.
Fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
A group of colts is properly called what?
I don't know.
A rag. So if there's a bunch of colts, that's a rag of colts over there. Yeah, I don't know why
so
they
if you're
call it
riding one, are you on the rag?
Yeah, you're riding on. You'd have to be riding a whole group of them. So you'd be riding on top of a group of colts. So I don't know. Would you just stop? I just caught what you're doing there. Walmart. Oh, hey, fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
Walmart is opening a store in McKinney, Texas. It will be powered by wind, at least partially powered by wind. It's kind of cool.
Okay.
Hey, fun fact for you,
What's
Heidi.
that, John?
Experts say kissing a child's boo-boo really does make it better. The child believes the pain will stop, and that triggers the release of pain-killing endorphins. So when you say, I'm going to kiss your boo-boo and make it feel better, it really does work. Did you know that?
I did not know that.
Now you do, because that is fun fact number 800 or 700. I don't know what it is. I lost track. It's one of those. It's up there. It's way up there. Coming up, don't call us. We'll call you. Going to tell you about a guy that he just might be my new hero. A guy that turned the tables on a telemarketing firm, and it's kind of funny.
This portion of the program is brought to you by StoneGroupArchitects.com. It's more than a building. It's design and function working together. Check out the project portfolio at StoneGroupArchitects.com.
Thank you for listening to the John and Heidi Show on a Wednesday. I got a fun story here about telemarketers. Now, I'm going to preface this with this. If you are a telemarketer, I have nothing against you personally. I really don't. I have two sisters that were working in that field for many years, they enjoyed it. I'm sure they did a great job. They're very nice people. But telemarketers, there's a kind of a, what do you say, a stigma that comes with that?
Yeah.
You know, and a lot of people don't like telemarketers. Well, there's a guy that really wasn't too happy with them. If it weren't for the fact that this was written here, I wouldn't believe this happened. But a Duluth, Minnesota man had enough of the telemarketers. He turned the tables on a company that kept hounding him with calls. And he called it more than 100 times in 2 days. He said,
them?
Yeah, he started calling Minnesota Auto Glass after the St. Petersburg company telemarketers were calling him. They were calling him 3 times a day. Even after he said, can you please stop calling? I don't need your help. So anyway, he figured the calls would stop, and he signed up for the do not call list. He was wrong. He says, I'm following the law and asking to be taken off the list, and they're ignoring me. And on top of that, he says, they start swearing at me.
Whoa.
And he says, that's when he flipped the switch. He said, that's enough is enough. I'm going after you guys. So he started calling the Minnesota Auto Glass Duluth office last Thursday, placed more than 100 calls. He said, I just called them every 5 minutes and let them know that, hey, you know what? I don't have a crack in my windshield. I don't need any help from you guys. Anyway, a Minnesota Auto Glass manager in Duluth said his number has now been removed from the list. And he says, I have proof that the removal will be put in writing. So this guy was getting so frustrated that he called 100 times.
That's funny.
That is funny.
I would do that.
You know, I would say that I would do that, but after about 5 or 6, I'd probably get pretty bored with it.
Oh, I wouldn't.
He's my new hero. So thank you very much, because that gave me a really good story to share. So thanks, Mark. That was the guy's name. And that was from Duluth, Minnesota. Coming up here in a bit, we're going to be talking about a psychologist and a couple like the two of us. According to this story, we're going to work out swimmingly. So I'm really excited because, I was kind of wondering after 16 years here if this was going to work out or not. But for those of you who are married, good news. If you're an odd couple, we'll tell you all about that in a bit.
This portion of the program is brought to you by DirecTV, 1-800-259-7646. Also brought to you by RVWheelator.com. If you're buying an RV or selling an RV, check out RVWheelator.com and the Dollar Shave Club. Here's John and Heidi.
We are sneaking right up on our anniversary here. Going to be 16 years on the 11th.
On the 11th.
And according to psychologist Dr. Herbert Hoffman, it just might work out between us, Heidi.
Oh, that's good to know.
He says odd couples, unions where one spouse is neat and tidy, like Tidy Heidi, and the other is a little bit sloppy, like Sloppy John over here. Boy, it's too bad my name's not Joe. I have a brother named Joe.
Oh, my gosh.
Tidy Heidi and Sloppy Joe. Oh. Anyway, it says it's not only very common, but they tend to be very successful. 70% of all marriages are made up of couples like that. Dr. Hoffman says like-minded people don't typically get along as well as odd couples. They seem to get more of a kick out of their relationship. That's what we get, Heidi. It's a kick. Dr. Hoffman does have a word of warning, though. The neat partner should not try to change the sloppy one because he or she was born that way. So, hey, quit telling me to throw stuff away.
You were born sloppy. No way.
I have things that'll break, and then I'll say, oh, hey, I can fix that, and I'll put it in the corner in the garage, and 10 years later.
I'm sorry. You were not born that way. You choose to be that way.
I probably do. Anyway, I think it was really funny. It worked out between us, and I think it's going to keep going on. Coming up, we got the bad excuse department, and boy, did this guy do something stupid. It's on the way.
This portion of the program is brought to you by GunUp.com. If you're a gun lover, you'll be in heaven at GunUp.com. Built by experienced military veterans, shooting sports competitors, and publishing professionals. They have awesome stories and articles that are read by millions of gun enthusiasts. Check it out at GunUp.com.
Have you ever been running late for something, like an airplane maybe, and you're going, how can I get them to wait for me?
Okay.
Well, don't do what this guy did.
Uh-oh.
Nikita Kotatis, a Greek dairy executive, was late for his flight to Brussels, and he thought, hey, I'm going to slow him down. I'm going to phone in a bomb threat.
He
was still in his office, and he asked his secretary to get Accent Airlines on the phone. She did, and when she got him on the phone, what he didn't realize is she told them who was calling.
Oh.
So anyway, she said, okay, they're on the line, sir, and he picked it up. He goes, yeah, hey, I just want to let you know, flight number 43778 to Brussels. Yeah, there's a bomb on that. Secretary had already given the name.
Oh, man.
He was sentenced to 7 months in prison, which rightfully so. You don't do that. If you're running late, catch the next flight, dude. I mean, what were you expecting to happen? Did he really think that once he got there, he's like, hey, never mind. That was me. It was all just a joke. Let's go to Brussels now. All right. Coming up, we're going to talk about your car and one of the most dangerous places it can possibly be. This is an interesting thing as well. It's on the way on the John and Heidi Show.
This portion of the program is brought to you by Dollar Shave Club. You can get razors sent to your door each month for just $1, plus a couple of bucks shipping. It's an amazing deal. Log on to DollarShaveClub.com/radio to learn more. That's DollarShaveClub.com/radio. Now, back to the John and Heidi Show podcast.
Turns out your car is one of the most dangerous places you can be, even if you're still parked in your garage. You ready for this?
I'm ready.
Bacteria can be found all over the steering wheel of your car, along with the dashboard. But the spot found to have the most bacteria, guess where it is?
Where's that?
The gear shift. Ugh. Microbiologists from Aston University in Birmingham, England, found the typical car has 283 different types of bacteria in every square centimeter.
Well.
The gear shift has 356 germs per square centimeter. Cars where children and pets join you for trips once in a while, they're even worse. Want more? We spend, on average, about 3 years of our life in our car. I think I spend more time than that.
Probably.
25% of us eat in their car at least once a week. I am way above that average.
Way above average.
25% admit their car is littered with food wrappers and empty drink bottles and cans. I try to keep mine pretty tidy. Every once in a while, if I have like a couple of trips in a row, I have a couple of them stack up. But I don't drive around with like the whole...
I'm going to call a big old...
What?
Your car is tidy only because I am the one that goes in every week and cleans all the wrappers
No,
and water bottles and...
Moving right along.
Out of there.
Hey, we're on a time limit here, ladies. We don't have time for you to berate me.
Don't tell
fully.
lies that
I'm
need
not.
to be berated.
I throw stuff away all the time. Hey, 16% confess they typically leave uneaten food inside the vehicle instead of throwing it in the trash. I don't do that. That's yucky. And 50% agree they would never let their home get as dirty as their car. I agree with that, too. I would never. And you, by the way, tidy Heidi, because you are pretty tidy, but the exterior of your vehicle is almost always filthy. Like, you never, ever go to a car wash and spray it off. I have to clean the outside of the car.
So
every once in a while,
I don't like sit on the outside of my car. I'm inside the car.
I understand
care what the
this.
outside looks like. I can only see the inside.
I have to like write notes on the mud for her to get the picture that hey, it's time to clean. I don't do that. That's bad for the paint. But anyway, I usually do the cleaning to take care of all of that. Coming up here in a bit, we've got a very cool story. If you've ever wanted to see what Noah's Ark looked like, they're building one, and we're going to tell you all about that here in a bit.
This portion of the program is brought to you by DirecTV. Call 1-800-259-7646. They have hundreds of channels to choose from, with many packages to fit your viewing desires. Learn more at 1-800-259-7646.
Thank you so much for listening to the John and Heidi Show. We always try to wrap things up around here with something really fun and positive and upbeat and good news. I think this is really a cool thing. If you've ever read the book of Genesis, it's the first book of the Bible, in there's a story about Noah's Ark. And they even have the details right in the book about how big this boat was. This ark was gigantic. Well, now you're going to be able to tour a life-size recreation of Noah's Ark. It's known as the Ark Encounter. Have you heard about this, Heidi?
I have not.
They're right now just getting ready to start taking the actual tickets. Like the ticketing system is just right now opening up. So you'll be able to start buying tickets. With more than 1.4 million visitors expected, tickets will be sold for separate daytime or evening visits during the first 40 days of opening.
Where is this located?
I'll tell you here in a second. Starting July 7th, the 40 days and 40 nights theme reflects the number of days and nights that it rained while Noah and his family were on the ark, as documented in Genesis 7. The Ark Encounter will be located in northern Kentucky, just south of Cincinnati. We're definitely going to go check this out. Workers at the Williamstown site are busy getting everything finished right now. They're constructing the internal exhibit areas of the Ark now that the external shell is pretty much complete. The main attraction is the world's largest timber frame structure. So it's the largest timber frame structure in the world, standing 510 feet long in accordance with the dimensions specified in Genesis.
Wow.
And this would have to be a sight to behold. So this is really cool. And I think that would be, we're Christians, so that's why I would like to go. But even if I was not a Christian, this is still just a marvel for somebody to be able to do that. Because there are people that have said in the past that, no, there's no way you could build a ship like that. That's just fiction. Well, they did it now. So now they've proven that it can be done. So I just think that's really a cool thing. I've got a link that I'll throw on our Facebook page, facebook.com/John and Heidi Show. Time to say goodbye, Heidi.
Goodbye, Heidi.
Goodbye, everybody. Have a great day. Thank you so much for listening to the John and Heidi Show on this Wednesday. We hope you'll join us again tomorrow, right back here.
Time now for the bonus break, only available here on the John and Heidi Show podcast.
And your bonus break is brought to you by the Dollar Shave Club. You can learn more at dollarshaveclub.com/radio. I got to tell you, I'm going to confess to something. I used a razor that wasn't one of theirs. Last week, I had to go, and I was on the road, and I wasn't on the road.
I was balancing the checkbook the other day, and I saw that you bought razors.
Yeah.
It was on one of the receipts.
I felt like such a fool.
I wondered what the razors were for.
Do you remember when I showed you? I showed you one day when I was driving. I was like, hey, look, I got a notch out of my hair. Like when I was shaving. Because I shave, and quite often I shave really fast, and I went too high, and I chopped a notch out of my sideburn. Well, it's not a sideburn, but whatever you call that hair on the side of my head. So it was like uneven. So the next morning when I got up, I took a little clipper that I have, the razor, what do you call it? A clipper? Shaver? Whatever. Electric?
Sure.
Whatever you call them. The one with batteries in it. And I buzzed that, thinking that I got everything all evened out and straightened and looking good. And I was going to meet some people for the first time. So at a first impression, that's why I wanted to look good. Didn't want to look like a moron with a chunk out of my hair. So I get on the road and I'm driving, and I look up in the rearview mirror and I thought I had a bruise on the side of my head. I was like, what happened there? And I feel it, and it's hair. So I fixed the top part, but I had like a sideburn next to my ear.
Well, you also one day thought that you had taken a chunk out of your beard, but it was just gray.
Yeah, that was gray. Anyway, so I'm in a different town getting ready to see some people for the first time, and I was like, I'm not going to walk in with like just a chunk of hair floating on the side of my head. I feel like a moron. So I went in and bought some little razors, and they were terrible.
Anyway, he likes his other razors better.
I like them a whole lot better. And I apologize, Dollar Shave Club, for cheating on you. And I feel terrible about it. And I paid more for those awful things than I would for good razors. So you can check them out and get some good razors at dollarshaveclub.com/radio. Here's an uplifting story. A professional ballroom dancer who lost a leg in the Boston Marathon bombing says she's training to run this year's race, all 26.2 miles. Adrienne Hazelet Davis will run to raise money and awareness for Limbs for Life. That's an organization that provides prosthesis to low-income amputees. And she's lost her leg below the knee in the Boston Marathon bombings a few years ago.
Wow.
And now she's going to run that race.
How cool is that? I've got both of my legs and I don't run. I probably should do something.
I got both legs. I don't even walk. So I walk, but I don't, like marathons or anything. Hey, a Spanish matador is being investigated for, and I quote, bullfighting. Let me say that again. Bullfighting while holding a 5-month-old baby.
Whoa.
Yeah. But you always got to wonder, how do these kids get, how do you get started in that? Well, when you're 5 months old, Dad will hold you and you fight a bull together. He posted a photo on his Instagram feed with the caption, Carmen's debut, and he responded to his critics saying, there's no safer place for her. Really? How about in the stands? I don't know. How about at home? Maybe in her crib. She's 5 months old, and you're dragging her out there to fight a bull?
Wow.
I don't think that was a good idea, Dad. And I understand. It's your child. You can do whatever you want to do, but I still think that was a bad idea. Hey, if you take a lunchtime walk or run or stroll, you'll return to work feeling less stressed. It says here, Finnish researchers found that even short-term visits to nature areas have positive effects on perceived stress levels. So saying take a walk in the park. Take a walk in the park, and when it's all said and done, you're going to feel so much better that you go back to work and, do way more work than you would have any other way. Recent study shows babies sometimes fake cry just to get attention. Just like adults do. What's wrong with you? Oh, nothing. No, there's something wrong. What's going on? Oh, it's nothing. I'm fine. I hate that when you do that. You sure everything's fine? Fine. You must be good then. I'm going to just move on.
I don't say nothing, I'm fine. I say nothing. Like, leave me alone, because usually you're the reason I'm crying.
What's going on? What you mad about? Nothing. Just go away. Okay. I'm glad everything's fine. Here, I thought there was a problem. I thought maybe you're mad because I came home so late. In Japan, a recent survey found that 37 wildlife display facilities have removed any creatures whose popular names, such as dwarf penguin or blind eel, might be considered discriminatory. So they took a bunch of things out where the names were something that somebody thought could be discriminatory. They just got rid of the names. Or did they get rid of the creatures? Yeah, they got rid of the creatures. So okay, we're going to move those on to somewhere else. We don't have any of those here. British Columbia, where is that? That's in Canada. Yeah, that's right. It's up. I'm looking at it there. It's on the map. British Columbia is now using camera-equipped garbage trucks to film what gets dumped in order to make sure people are recycling properly.
Oh, man.
Yeah, that is Big Brother stuff right there. Police in Bend, Oregon were called to report to a reported burglary at the Rustic River Restaurant. That's just fun to say. Rustic River Restaurant. Officers soon had 36-year-old Julius Jacob Ludwig in custody. How did they catch him so quickly? Elementary, my dear Watson. They followed his footprints in the snow.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, there was one set of footprints leaving from this place. It had snowed after everybody left for the night. This dude came and went, and they followed his footprints and caught him. If you're going to pursue a career in burglary, it's always kind of a handy thing to know a little bit about your intended victims. It'd be helpful for the 24-year-old St. Gregory Germain of Lighthouse Point, Florida. He thought about burglarizing the home of 53-year-old Margot Foster, and he thought, this would be a piece of cake. But he didn't know she's a marathon runner, and she's got a black belt in martial arts.
Ooh.
She used both of those skills to chase him 6 blocks and beat the snot out of him while the police were coming to pick him up. So by the time he got there, they're like, please, can I get in your car? She's beating me up a lot. And our final story, Heidi, from England. A fraudster has been jailed for nearly 4 years for stealing more than $1 million using a fictional law firm from the Three Stooges. I mean, anybody who's ever saw Three Stooges knows Dewey, Cheatham, and Howe.
Oh, man.
Patrick Michael Penker used a variation of the name of the Dewey, Cheatham, and Howe to obtain cashier's checks from banks, and he set up this fake law firm and bilked $1 million from people. $1 million.
So what? He just walked into these banks and said, "I'm from this law firm. Give me a cashier's check." Why?
I'm not sure.
How would he go about getting cashier's
I think
checks?
what he did is he set up a fake law firm, and when people were trying to hire them, he took their cashier's checks and went to the bank. I don't know. I guess I don't understand it completely. All I know is Dewey, Cheatham, and Howe. That was from the Three Stooges back in the 30s, and that joke still worked.
I didn't know that it was from the Three Stooges, but I've heard that before.
Yeah,
I wouldn't have fallen for that.
I remember it from one of their shorts. All right, that's going to do it for your bonus break. Brought to you by the Dollar Shave Club. You can learn more about those crazy cats. Get some razors. You're going to thank yourself later. The Dollar Shave Club can be found online at dollarshaveclub.com/radio.